This is Rosen Institute's Your Law Firm, where Ned Days and Lee Rosen cover management, marketing, finance, and new technologies for building the practice you deserve. Rosen Institute members received this episode early, as well as exclusive segments on getting your quarterly project ready for April 1st, and an answer to a member question about what benefits to offer under a variable compensation plan. Get access to everything you're missing at roseninstitute.com/join. Here's Lee Rosen.
It's good to be with you today from Chitan, Japan on Okinawa. We have been on Okinawa for a week now, and it's beautiful in most every way. It reminds me a lot of Hawaii without the high prices. The scenery is epic, the food is terrific, the people are polite and pleasant, and we are surrounded by Americans. Yes, Americans. There are about 30,000 of us here on Okinawa because of the military bases that are here on the island. There are almost double that many American troops stationed in Japan. We are staying in a Hilton that is filled with American Marines who came for the weekend to attend a Marine Corps ball. They are all outfitted in their dress uniforms. It's absolutely fascinating and fantastic. It's all a little bit odd for us, but it's kind of comfortable to be surrounded by so many Americans who are eating pancakes and waffles at the buffet using knives and forks instead of chopsticks. I'm not really sure what we expected, but I hadn't really done the math on how many of us I would see just down the block here from the Red Lobster and the KFC. And to top it all off, the U.S. Air Force Base next door launches so many jets. The roar of the takeoff is incredible, and the jets quickly disappear, only to roar back an hour later, lined up for landing. We're having our own private air show from the balcony of our hotel room. It is all sort of fantastic, and the pancakes are absolutely delicious.
It's time for your tech tip. A new year, a new boatload of apps to install on your phone and probably delete in about a week. Nevertheless, I have a few interesting apps for Android and iOS, and my guess is that at least one or two will be handy enough to stick around. Now, the first one is cross-platform, not just for Android and iOS, but for Mac and Windows too, and it aims to let you share your clipboard between all of your devices. Copying something on your phone and then pasting it on your computer feels like magic, except of course when you can't do that, because heaven forbid you want devices in different ecosystems. You end up texting yourself things like passwords or a photo of that weird-looking mole, and then having to explain yourself when somebody sees your screen. Clipboard Remote works on all of your computers and mobile devices, and shockingly is free. Now, it isn't exactly the Shangri-La you may be hoping for, where you just copy on your iPhone and paste on your Windows machine. You essentially open up the app and can then manually initiate both copy and paste operations on your different devices. So you can grab the clipboard contents from one device, push it to another, and it even lets you do basic edits on images you've copied before pasting them elsewhere. Clipboard Remote requires your devices to be on the same local network to operate. So if your phone or tablet is on 5G and your computer is on Wi-Fi, sadly that won't work. The reason though is because it's only operating over a local network connection. The upside here being that there is no server involved. Your clipboard data isn't going to the cloud, it's staying on your devices. If you have phones, tablets, and notebooks across a few different ecosystems, Clipboard Remote will probably make your life a whole lot easier. First up on Android is Volume Scroll. This app lets you use the volume keys on your Android device to scroll up and down. Very helpful if you do a lot of long-form reading on your device and you don't want to have to flick or scroll or tap the screen every couple of seconds. In a similar vein is Edge Gestures. This $2 app lets you treat the edges of your Android display as hot zones to trigger settings adjustments, app launches, and a lot more by tapping, double tapping, swiping, or long pressing on specific edges. You can set up configurations to mimic the back button, take a screenshot, launch an app, or just about anything else with your preferred combination of tapping and swiping on the specified edge. Now, I can sense some snickering out there because kids these days apparently consider edge to be a funny/dirty word, just like it is apparently now incredibly rude, dismissive, and emotionally insensitive to reply to anything with just the thumbs up emoji. What will they take from us next? Now, because you can't just send the thumbs up emoji as a reply in chats or text messages anymore, and Lord knows you don't want to actually bother to think of a coherent reply, AI has come to the rescue. The last Android app here is Co-Reply. This works a lot like the Quick Reply feature in Gmail, but offers AI-suggested replies in Google Messages, Microsoft Teams, WhatsApp, Signal, Viber, and a long list of other chat apps. It pops suggestions right into your reply box. Tap once for the next suggested word, or long tap for the entire suggestion. If you're more technically inclined and already have a Gemini API key, you can use that for the AI services under the hood, or you can create a Co-Reply account and access their pay-as-you-go AI service. Finally, we have a few iOS apps. If you are like me and you want everything to work like the computer you learned how to operate in 1994, you no doubt know the struggle of file management on iOS. Apple does give us a Files app, which, what can I say? It's an app, but Apple clearly doesn't want you thinking about where your files go or how to get to them. There have been alternative file managers out there for a long time. Readel's Documents is a popular one. Most of them, though, don't do a whole lot in addition to what Apple Files already provides. But there is a new app called File Doctor that does add a few useful capabilities for modifying files on your iOS devices. You can scan documents in directly, convert formats between Word and PDF, edit images, lock PDFs, merge and split PDFs, get AI summaries of files, add watermarks, export your contacts to formats like Excel or CSV, and find duplicate files or compress large files. This is all pretty small potatoes on your desktop device, but not easy to do on mobile. Since it's fairly new, it does have a couple of rough edges, but it is completely free. I don't know if the plan is to add paid options with more features later, but for right now, it's useful if you need the ability to convert and edit files on the go. The next one is Longshot. This creates continuous screenshots from your phone. No need to send a dozen separate screenshots that embarrassingly show you only have 13% battery because you didn't have time to chop them up and combine them. Longshot lets you select a series of screenshots or a video of you scrolling your phone and intelligently stitches everything together into a single seamless screenshot. It will automatically detect where these stitches need to happen and insert them seamlessly, but you can manually adjust them if you need to. Whether you need to share the full contents of a website, a complete text message conversation, a comment thread, or anything else, this is a quick, easy, and free way to make that happen. And last on iOS is Screenshot Editor Text Mask. Kind of a long name, but if you just search Text Mask in the App Store, you'll find it. This app has free and paid versions. It provides a bunch of fairly standard image editing tools for photos and screenshots, color adjustments, cropping, filters, but the most convenient one is its redaction tool, which is available in the free version. It lets you very easily put black boxes over text in screenshots and images. It automatically recognizes text, so you can just tap a specific word or phrase or number to black it out. Super useful if you regularly need to share scans or photos or screenshots and need to black out things like credit card numbers, names, or other personally identifiable information. I'm Ned Days, and that's your tech tip.
And now for your moment of concise advice. Losing employees. It is a nightmare. And I will tell you, I've had too many people quit. Every time it happens, it's frustrating. It's disappointing. And if I'm being honest, it's mostly my fault. Now, that's not something that I enjoy admitting, but those people who quit were all very different from one another. I was the only common denominator in the situation. I'd like to blame them, but I have to conclude that it was me. That is not an easy place, at least for me, to land. I used to tell myself that it was them, that they were ungrateful and impatient and not tough enough to put up with work in the modern workplace. But now, years later, I see their faces on LinkedIn. I hear stories from other lawyers. These folks now, they are thriving somewhere else. They're mostly doing quite well in their jobs or their businesses, and that hits me like a gut punch. They didn't suddenly get smarter. They just found a place where someone finally gave them what it is that they needed. And that someone was not me. One employee came in to give me notice that she was leaving, and I remember it like it was yesterday. We did the world's greatest exit interview. I asked every smart, reflective, data-driven question that I could find on Google. The problem, my asking those questions, it was 5 days too late. She had already said yes to another job. She had taken that job, and no matter what I understood about why it was that she was leaving my law firm, there was no way to fix it. Sitting there across from her, I could see exactly what I had done wrong, what I had missed, what I could have fixed, if only I had paid attention like I was doing right then in the exit interview. That was the day that I realized that my boat was leaking. We were taking on water. It was not a hole that I could patch with money or with better job titles. No, it was just a slow, steady leak caused by silence. I hadn't checked the hull of my boat in way too long, and by the time that I did, when I finally got around to it, my boat was already halfway underwater. We were on our way to sinking. I thought I was doing things right. I had my ideas, my philosophies, my beliefs about what it took to keep people, to keep employees. I treated raises and perks like they were the solution, like they were duct tape that could patch up the boat. I thought money would seal the hole in the boat, but it just didn't. The leaks in my boat, they started long before any pay conversation with any employee. In fact, the leaks started when we stopped talking, when we assumed that everything was fine because nobody was complaining, when we got busy running the business instead of running the team, instead of paying attention. I had one employee one time who was burning out right in front of my eyes. I just thought that she needed time to figure it out. It turns out that she had been figuring it out for a long time, for months, but she had been figuring it out with a recruiter. She didn't want more money. She didn't want duct tape to patch things up. No, she wanted more control over her time. She wanted to stop feeling like every day was a treadmill that she couldn't get off of. There's research that breaks it down into 4 big reasons that people leave your law firm. They want out, they want control, they want alignment, or they're just ready for the next step in their career. In plain English, they quit when the job no longer fits who they are. What makes it worse is that most of them, they don't know how to say any of that out loud to you, to the boss. They just don't know how to say it. So it's on us to ask. We've got to ask before it's too late. You've got to ask early. You've got to ask often. You've got to skip the performance review checklist and go straight to the real stuff. You've got to ask questions, deeper questions like, what is it that's draining your energy right now? What part of the job actually gets you excited? What would make this work feel worth staying for? Then, after you've asked the good questions, you've got to stop talking and listen, not to fix it, not to lecture, just to understand. In my early days, I thought that leadership meant keeping people in line, tight rules, clear orders, predictable outcomes. Later, I learned that leadership is about keeping people in conversation. You lead by listening, not by lecturing. I figured that out, and I formalized the process with weekly one-on-one meetings where we sit down and we talk about what's going on. You need to do that. Do it. Don't wait. Waiting until they quit doesn't solve your problem. If you're waiting until the exit interview to finally listen to your employees, well, then you're not leading. You're performing an autopsy. If you really want to keep people, then do the exit interview on their first day of employment. Ask them why they came. Ask them what they hope this job becomes. Ask them what it is that they need in order to stay. And then keep that conversation going until the day that they don't want to leave. The good news here is that you can plug the leaks. You don't need consultants or dashboards. You need curiosity. Most people don't quit because they hate you. They quit because they stopped feeling seen by you. They don't see the opportunity in staying with you because they don't see you paying attention to them. So go ahead, grab a flashlight and start checking your boat. Look for the leaks, tighten the bolts, ask the uncomfortable questions before someone else asks your very best employee if they're ready to jump ship. Do it today. That's your moment of concise advice. Wrapping up from Chitan, Japan, thanks for spending a few minutes with me and Ned today. We hope you have a great weekend and an even better week next week. Keep plugging away, moving forward, and getting things done. You're on the right track. You'll get there. I promise. We're all in this together, and together we build better practices through better marketing, better management, and better technology. Until next time, I'm Lee Rosen.
Thanks for listening to Your Law Firm. Subscribe to the Friday File at roseninstitute.com and join thousands of other lawyers who are working on instead of in their businesses. You'll find safe, successful, actionable approaches for transforming your practice. Join us today at roseninstitute.com.